Okay, good afternoon and welcome to the Google Sites Global Google Sites webinar. My name is Mary Catherine Marston and I teach kindergarten at Beaver MST. This is my first year teaching kinder, which I'm absolutely in love with, and I previously taught 5th grade math and science for 3 years. I truly believe in meaningfully incorporating technology into the classroom and not just using technology for the sake of using technology. Just to give you some background on the technology that I have available, because we are a technology magnet campus, I have 10 MacBooks, a smart table, a smartboard, and a class set of iPads. Our moderator that is joining us today is the fabulous Val Spears. So you'll see her commenting and facilitating to the chat to the right of the webinar video. Val is a 5th grade teacher at Pearson Elementary. Okay, so just some quick webinar tips before we really jump into Google Sites. A webinar does have a slightly different feel and format due to the fact that we are not face-to-face. So if you would, please take a moment to introduce yourself with your name, your campus, and your grade level in the chat box to the right of the video. Throughout the webinar, I'll ask a few questions so that viewers can share ideas. I'll also pause after asking some of those questions in order to give you some time to respond and so that I can read and discuss your answers. Additionally, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. I'll try to answer them throughout the webinar or at the end. Be sure to stick around until the end of the webinar to obtain your CPE credit. At the end of the webinar, Val will post a link to the Google form to fill out. And just make sure that you are logged into your GISD Google account so that you can fill it out correctly. Okay. So this webinar is going to showcase how to use the new Google Sites. Google Sites is a part of GISD's Google Apps for Education suite, so both you and your students have access to it. Google Sites gives you the ability to easily create your own web page. There is a new version of Google Sites that is much more user-friendly and easier to navigate than the previous version. So today, I'll give you a basic overview of how to create and edit your own Google site and give you some ideas as to how you can use it in your classroom. So I'm super excited to see that there's some people joining us from digital learning and from the special programs and AVID department. Hopefully we can give you some good ideas as to how you can incorporate this and use this to work for you and whoever you need it to do work for. Okay, so using Google Sites will allow you or a student to share content with a worldwide audience, which is aligned with our global collaborator ISTE standards. As educators, we want for our students to meaningfully use technology to demonstrate competency towards learning goals and the TEAS. Google Sites is a great way for students to demonstrate their learning while sharing that knowledge with a global audience, or even just with parents or other schools within the district. Google Sites is also aligned with the GISD Technology Monthly Focus for April, which is connecting globally. Google Sites are a great way for teachers to share information with parents, provide resources, and showcase what is going on in their classroom. Okay, so I'm going to show you at first what the previous Google Sites looks like. GISD teachers have had access to Google Sites for several years now. It's a really great resource that my 5th grade team started using thanks to the amazing Angie Ariza to share information with parents. So this is just kind of what it would look like. The main issue with using this old version of Google Sites was that it was hard to navigate, edit, and its collaboration features were way behind that of other Google products. Thankfully, Google has totally transformed Google Sites. Now it's very easy to quickly set up, edit, and collaborate with others. Is there anyone out there who used this version of Google Sites? Okay. So now Google Sites looks more like this. Okay. it has been revamped. So you might be wondering, if I have not previously used Google Sites, I chose to use another website or web page creator like Weebly, what would be the benefits of switching and using Google Drive? Just for me, it's so easy to import files like slides, photos, and documents because it's connected to your Google Drive account, so you can easily import those. You can also collaborate on the site. Multiple teachers and students can work simultaneously on the site. And to my knowledge, this is not possible on Weebly or other website creators. Okay. The third reason I really love Google Sites is there's no need to create another username or password. You and your students already have access to Google Sites. Okay, and I can see Kathy commented that she's used the old one. And like I said, hopefully just the differences, but you'll be able to see what a huge difference there is between the previous one and this one. Okay, so now we're going to look at how to actually create a Google slide. So first, you'll want to make sure that you're logged into your Google Drive account. Okay, you can type in sites.google.com in your browser, or in Drive, you can click on the 9 squares and you can see the blue icon labeled Sites. Here, you will see a list of all the sites that you have created or that have been shared with you in the past. And this list over here on the right are all of the old sites that I've created or that have been shared with me. So to get started, you need to click on the Create button. Make sure once you click on that, you click in the new Google Sites. So now you're on the home page of your new Google site. And what you can do is, the first step would be to change the title of your website. So for example, this would be like the name of your site. So I'm going to title this Global Google Sites Webinar. And like if you were doing this for your classroom, it could be Miss Marston's kindergarten classroom, or for students, it could be the title of a project. Here, this is going to be the title of your page. Since this is our home page, we would want to type home, but you could title it however you like. Okay, then once you've clicked off of there, it will allow you to change the image, which would be what is seen behind your text. And you have two choices. You can upload a photo that you have on your computer, or you can do select image. If you do select image, you are given a gallery of photos provided by Google. Additionally, you can search for them, or you can even just import a photo that you already have in Google Drive. So I'm going to go ahead and change mine. Okay, additionally, also in your header, you can change the size of it. So whether you want it large, the banner like it is now, or just the title. So your header is kind of like the first thing that people are going to see whenever they come to your site. So you really want to make sure that it represents what your website is all about. So like I said, creating and working within Google Drive is very, very easy. If you want to add content to it, all you do is below your header or where you have white space, you can double click. Once you double click, it gives you several different features of things that you can add. You can add a link, you can add an image, you can upload something or import something from Drive, or add text. The first thing that we're going to look at is how to add a picture. So if you select images, again, you can pull in one from a website, any albums, upload one, or you can select one from Google Drive. And all you do is find the photo that you would like, select it, and from there, you can resize it. Okay. It gives you the capability to resize it. You can also add a link to that photo. So when somebody clicks on it, it will take them to another site. Of course, delete it. And then you can add a text or caption underneath it. You're also able to manipulate it and move it over and center it on the page. So if we wanted to add another type of content, you could add a text box by clicking on text. have somewhat limited capabilities when it comes to text. It doesn't really give you a font of your choice, but you can definitely customize it by changing the title or changing the type of style that it is, whether it's title, heading, and they just kind of get larger. And then you have some of your basic editing features. Another way that you can customize your text box is by selecting this paint palette that's on the left side, and you can do section background, and it allows you to change the colors. It does look like it has limited colors, but I'll show you in a little bit how you can change those colors. For some reason, it's just not right here. Okay. If you would like to add a link, of course, you would just highlight your text as normal and select the link button, paste the website address that you would like for it to go to. One thing that I did find as I was creating sites is when you're in this editing mode, if you click on a link that you have added just to make sure that it's correct and that it's working properly, it will not take you to the website until you are looking at it through the published view. So that's one thing just to keep in mind. Don't panic or freak out if you think it's not working. Just make sure you're in that published view. Okay. So let's say I wanted to import something from Drive. Again, I could double click, and then at the bottom of the circle, you're going to see from Drive. And all you would do is find the file. You could search for it or just import it if it's one of your recently viewed ones, and then click Insert. From there, you can resize it to give it more of a focus point if you would like to, or minimize it if it's something small that you want people to click on and open it in a new tab. And again, you have those same changing the color features and everything like that. Additionally, on the right-hand side, you'll see some capabilities to embed some other types of Google products. For example, you can click on YouTube. You can either add a video directly through a link on YouTube. You can also import a calendar. I really like this feature because we have a grade level calendar, and so I'm able to import that calendar, place it into my Google site so that parents and students can view it. And then there's also a shortcut on the right-hand side for all of the Google Docs, including Google Forms, which is really neat. And it's the same process that I went over earlier for adding a document into Google Drive or into Google Sites. So the next thing that we're going to take a look at is Pages. So in the top right corner, it does say Pages. And this is where you can add an additional page or pages to your site. So I could title this page 1. Okay, so all you do is add your pages. Once you are there, it does give you the capability to rearrange them in order. So whatever order they are in on this bar on the right side, that will be their order for across the top above your header. Okay. Then on each page, you have the same exact capabilities for editing as on your home page. So I could, if I would like to, I could make this header type larger, or the banner so that it matches the original homepage. And then you're able to insert all of the same types of documents and things like that that you were able to on your homepage. Yes, I do see some questions like, can you change the name of the page later? And you are able to go back and edit it. If you look at the where it says pages across the top, if you click on the 3 dots, I believe, or no, I'm sorry, excuse me. If you just double click on that title of the page, once you change it and click off of it, it should automatically update. Okay. The other thing that I really like about it is, there's rename web page. You can also do hide from navigation. That way, if there's something you want to prepare ahead of time for students or for parents that you're not ready for them to see yet, You could do hide from navigation so they aren't able to see it. Then once you're ready for it to go live, you can go back in and change that setting. The next thing that we're going to take a look at is this third option across the top that says themes. Okay, and what this does is it just changes all of the pages in your Google site and gives them a more uniform look. So that's where I was saying, you could go in and change the color and things like that, and just change the style and some of the fonts and things like that. It's not super customizable to where you can pick your own font, but each one has a slightly different look and has different color choices. And so you could go in and change the colors to fit your style or the topic that you're talking about. The next thing that we're going to look at is the sharing features. So at the top of your Google site, you'll see a little person with a plus sign, which is the same icon for sharing as in all Google products. So if you click on that and add editors, okay, you can invite people through their email address. This does not give them, this is not publishing the web page. It's only inviting those other people that you want to be able to collaborate on it. So for example, I have shared my site with my other kindergarten teachers so that we can all collaborate and contribute to it. If you have students working on a project, this is where one student would need to create it and then share it with the other members of their group so that everybody could see it. I see we have a question from Jake, and he's asking if you can give different rights to different pages. For example, only teachers could access certain pages. As far as I know of, that's not possible, but I would have to play around with it and definitely look into it just to be sure. The final step in creating your Google site is going to be to publish it. So there's this purple button up at the top, and you would select publish. Okay. The most important thing that you're going to have to do before you're even able to publish it is you're going to have to give it what they call a site location name. And that's really just like your domain name of any other website. So what you would do is, for example, I might make this site location my global Google Sites webinar. And that's what I would type in. For my grade level website, I typed in Beaver MST Kindergarten, just so that it really matched what the web page was over. I think that's really the most important step. Okay. The second thing, where it says who can see my site, those are really who are you sharing this with to be able to view it. If it was something that you wanted to keep just in district and you didn't want anybody in the public to be able to see it, then you would need to select this anyone at Garland ISD. If you would like anybody who is on the web to be able to see it, so that could be parents or students, then you would need to select anybody on the web. So I'm going to go ahead and select anyone on the web. And then there's this button here that says, or this checkbox, allow my site to appear in search results. If you select that, then it means, for example, if somebody typed into Google if they typed in global Google Sites webinar, then this could possibly pop up. If you really want it to be public, then that's something that you would definitely want to check. Like if you were doing this for parents or something like that. For students, you might have to go in and definitely check those privacy settings. Then when you're ready for your site to go live, all you do is click publish. Okay. Then it'll tell you at the bottom your site has been published successfully, and you can click view to see what it looks like live. The great thing about Google Sites is, of course, like any Google product, it saves as you go along. So once you publish it, you don't have to go back in and unpublish it unless you want people to stop being able to see it. So if you have any changes to make or anything like that, Once it's published, those will automatically update. Like I said, if for some reason that you did want to take back your published Google site, all you would do is on this drop-down arrow next to where it says published, you would select unpublished or unpublished. So far, do I have any other questions or anything like that over how you create and edit your Google site? Okay, so now that you have all of this great information, you might be wondering what in the world could you do with it? Okay, so I'm going to show you a couple ways that I have used Google Sites, and people at my campus have used Google Sites. So one way is I created a research site with my team for our kindergarten kiddos. This way, they have all of the resources that they need for their groups with links to videos and things like that. You might be wondering, why I chose to do that instead of using a product like Google Classroom or something like that. And that's because it's not really reasonable for my kindergartners to log into Drive and navigate Google Classroom. So if this would be a great way to give information to kids without assigning anything or using logins. The other way that I have used it is I created a grade level site for my kindergarten team so that we could share with parents. So this is what it looks like. We have just a nice welcome letter on the front. We have a picture of our team. Then we have our calendar, which is our Google Calendar where we put all of our events on so parents will be able to see dates, locations, times, and just kind of plan for what we have coming up. Of course, class schedules and contact information. I think this is one of my favorite things that I've added to Google Sites is information about field trips. So we'll add, when we have an upcoming field trip, what it is, where we're going, all of those details. Then at the bottom, I also have a section for field trip permission guidelines. And what I actually did is I noted, some of the important things that we have to have, but then I also added links to extra copies of the forms so that if students or parents lose the forms, then they can simply go here, print it out, and turn it in at school. And so just to kind of eliminate some work on my end, hopefully. Okay. Another thing that you could do with this class site is you could add a page for teachers. So I haven't added anything to mine yet because we haven't really pushed this out to teachers yet. But I know that I can go in and very easily showcase student work, pictures of what we're doing in class, work samples, different things like that. And then parents are able to go check it out and see what kids are doing and ask them questions about what they're learning. The site, like I said, isn't live yet, and we will also be adding some links to resources like iStation, Education Galaxy, just different websites and apps that we use so that if parents would like to support their kids at home, then they can find all of that information in one place. Another way that you could use this work or use Google Sites is with students, just to kind of showcase their, culminating project or what they have learned. So this is one that our 5th grade team actually developed for their students to use. And what they're doing is they have to create basically a website over an animal and giving it information, sharing information about that. So what the teachers did is they created a template that just lays out for kids all the information they need to have and where it needs to go. So then what they did is they shared it with students, and students are able to collaborate in it, work with their group, and enter all of their information in here. And of course, the kids will be given that really important voice and choice with changing colors, adding pictures, and just customizing it to fit their style and their needs for the project. So it's a great way to give them voice and choice and also be able to collaborate with other students and share their work out, not just to others within the school or even within the district, but they can share their work globally and possibly could connect with a classroom somewhere else. Okay, so I guess my last question for you is what are some ways that you might implement Google Sites in your classroom or in your department? Okay, I noticed that somebody asked, or they had a question as to how they could add a blog as one of their pages. If it is your blog that you created through Blogger, through Google, I don't think there's a way to import your entire blog into Google Sites. It would have to be through a link. Um, so you could do that, or you could start using this as kind of your blogging platform and have your name and then whatever you would like to add to your blog. It would just be very similar, and I feel like this is probably a little bit more user friendly than Blogger as well. Okay, I see Jake said that he also wants to use it for teacher resources. That's one thing I'm going to start doing as well. I usually send out a s'more to my teachers at my campus, just with different technology tidbits as part of my I3 role. But what I'm going to start doing now is instead of doing that, I'm going to add a page for each month so that if they need to go back and reference something, it's super easy for them to find. Hey, so if you have any questions over Google Sites, what you could do with it or how to edit or anything like that, go ahead and type them in the chat box and I'll go back and look over any other questions that I may have missed during the webinar. And I just want to say thanks so much for joining and learning with us today about Google Sites. If you have any questions over Google Sites, um, or just anything techie in general, please feel free to send me a tweet or email me. I have my contact info up on the screen now, and I definitely look forward to hearing and connecting with you. And at this time, Val is going to go ahead and post our CPE credit for today. It'll be in the chat box to the right-hand side. And again, just thanks so much for joining in today and participating with us. I really enjoyed all of the questions and everything like that. So I hope you have a great afternoon. I'm so happy to hear that you enjoyed it, Jake. I really appreciate the fact that you're so excited about it. And definitely, if you have any questions, feel free to send me an email or a tweet, and I'd be more than happy to talk to you about anything else that I've learned about Google Sites.